Tone Studios with Grady Shawver.
Randall, the guy who would call me for TV stuff once in a while. Randall, my current boss,
Okay.
old buddy. I met him because I was putting together a band about the time I had my first daughter, and the drummer Mark Stewart brought Randall in, and we hit it off, and he liked the guitar parts I'd written for my tunes, and so we were going to work something up, and then I was just so busy. I had a job doing legal videotaping depositions on big court cases to earn some bucks during that time. Pretty good job, but I had to fly around the country a lot, like Lincoln Savings and Loan, and was it the Ivan Boesky, Michael Milken. So there was some real big money, badasses, big savings and loan scandals, and another one was Newman versus Stringfellow. One of the biggest toxic waste cases ever in the country. So I was flying around with my camera doing that crap. Never took a guitar, and I was just getting homesick. And I came back and had my daughter, and they were going to put us in, have me be around town more. So I was just so enamored with having a daughter. We were putting together the band with Randall. I finally said, you know what, I'm just going to be a dad and work for a while, and I'll still write and do whatever. But Randall and I were still great friends. And the reason I told you about that is because he would call me back every once in a while. He would call me up, hey, you got a song like around 140 beats per minute or whatever, or send me a bunch of stuff, because he'd be doing various stuff where they didn't want to license a Prince song, for like a Penthouse videos, or it could be anything. We did a logging documentary where he used one of our songs, mine and Dad's. So they would find something like this similar beats per minute, as what they were looking for, as what the dancers danced for. In this case, it was Hot Bodies was a series. It wasn't porn.
Yeah.
It was just something he called me for. Hey, I got this little project, that I just, put music in it. And so every once in a while I get a little check from him, and then I did a couple other little TV things, kind of came about on my own. And then I guess it was in 2010 or 11, John Scheider from Dukes of Hazzard came out with a show called Trick My What, and it was a spin-off of Trick My Truck. This is Trick My What, and they'd go out, and they'd hop up tractors, or it could be anything, it could be a lawnmower, it could be whatever. So I started coming up with some cues for that, and did that. Just always had the little ASCAP thing going, ASCAP checks coming. I did a show called Save Our Streets in '96, and it was American Justice Files. I had a song called Any Good Daddy on there, and that would be good because, I'd be painting houses and doing gigs, which is what I kind of started doing in the mid-'90s once we came back to Idaho. And I'd get like a check for a couple $1,000, maybe 10,000.
What is the project your job you're currently working on?
For the last 9 years, I've been working on Blaze and the Monster Machines, doing underscore for them. It's a cartoon on Nickelodeon, Nick Jr. We got nominated for an Emmy in 2018 for our underscore composition. And it's rock guitars, a lot of classic rock sounding stuff, with varying backgrounds. It can be anything from orchestral to horn arrangements to twangy country stuff. Depending on the episode, they have recurring characters that come in. One of the characters that I like for the ability to play my telly and do the twang stuff is this Starla. She's like this cowgirl. Yeah! She comes in every, maybe 3 or 4 episodes, so you get out the telly and do some telly tickling. And between the recurring characters and just the themes of the different episodes, it covers a lot of ground. But there's usually that constant. Blaze and AJ, the main characters, is always going to be rocking classic rock. So it's always going to be like a Les Paul or humbucker through a Marshall kind of amp. And
awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And to tell you the truth, this job keeps me pretty busy, and I do want to start on another album, or maybe I'll just go singles, instrumentals, or whatever I want to do, because I've got my day job, which is this, which is fine. It takes all the pressure off,
Yeah, you don't have to be a starving musician.
Yeah, I mean, but before this came out, I was over in Seattle painting houses and playing gigs every week. Playing, usually maybe 3 nights a week with Canute Bell, who was a country guy, great guy, good songwriter. Big, he was a crab fisherman in the Bering Sea, like the deadliest catch kind of guy.
Oh wow!
And he sang, and I don't know, around early 2000s or whatever, he started, when they'd come back off the sea, he'd play Ballard and all these places. There were a lot of fishing kind of culture around there, but also it was kind of hip, you know. Clubs like the Tractor and whatever were around there. And that's a long story getting there, but I wound up hooking up with him in 2011. I played with him till 2016. And I was at a point where, I'd had problems with alcohol and was really serious about, just getting away. I sold a Telecaster because I'd walk in my little music room after I'd gotten sober, and it's like that thing just seemed like it's supposed to have a beer next to it. It was like, I can't do this, It's like, I'm not going to gig. I'm not going to start working my way up through the dive bar bands in Seattle. I'm just going to work on this, getting a solid life together. And so I'd sell that guitar and got some others. But anyway, I started going out on the road with Earl and learning Earl Weir, who plays with Kelly Seidel in Coltrane. Good guy, good singer, man, good country singer. I would fly in and out of Denver to play the Grizzly Rose with him.
Nice.
One time we opened for Luke Bryan just before he hit big. It was kind of cool seeing how they operated. They were like a little army come in. Man, they'd set up their promo stuff and their radio stuff. They'd just pop the, face off of a big, anvil case. And they'd have pull out the antennas and boom, they're already talking live with radio and all this. Just, man, what? And after their show, they're gone within an hour, 45 minutes. It's just like boom, boom. They come in like a big gust of air. That's the way Nashville was working at the time. I saw, it's like, man, these guys are like a little army. They're serious. It's really competitive. And anyway, that was cool. I'd fly out and play with Earl, do clubs like that. And then I went on the road with him in 2011 and got my sober playing, being on the road, that kind of entails a certain amount of, you're always around drinking every night.
Yeah.
And, and craziness and just a lot of the old vices and things that I would fall into before, or the temptations, women and booze and just hell raising and all that, which none of that. Just went out and played, made a really good friend in Kenny Alvers, who's a great pedal steel banjo player, telly player. He's a kind of bluegrassy guy from Darrington. I guess in Darrington up north of Seattle, there's a bunch of people there. He says they're all a bunch of Tar Heels. And that's like North Carolina, South Carolina, bluegrassy guys. So he had a lot of that vibe going for him. And anyway, we were on the road with Earl, and he says, "Hey, I know this guy in Seattle that's kind of like you. He got sober a couple years ago, but he's he's kind of vocal about it. And actually, a lot of people in Seattle Seattle went through hell after, especially the grunge and everything. There's so much addiction and depression and all this stuff." And he says, "Felix is kind of a light for a lot of these people." I was like, "Whoa, that's kind of cool, So we'd go back to Seattle in between trips, out to Wyoming or Arizona or Oklahoma or wherever with Earl. And I really my daughter's in Southern California. I really wanted to get based in Seattle to have my daughters come up on easy, regular visits, and really just, I didn't want to do the road so much, nothing against Earl, but I met Canute. He came watch us playing, and I played one Sunday afternoon with him. He says, "You know what? My guitar player's kind of iffy right now. It's just, anytime you want this gig, it's yours." And so I think I did one more trip, and within a month I was playing with him all the time.
Nice.
And yeah, we did a couple albums together, wrote some songs, but it was really cool having that sober guy, This isn't about music really, but it kind of is, because a lot of musicians suffer with, addiction and whatever. It was cool to be standing next to a compadre who was on the same similar spiritual wavelength and clean and sober and being positive and just not wallowing in this, being stuck. We played some good music. So I had a ball doing that. It was probably the best country I've ever played because it was kind of country with my own flavor because I've done a fair amount of rock too,
Nice.
Not metal, but a lot of rock and, classic rock kind of stuff. And, I'll get you some links. Maybe KEXP we did some stuff too, so there's some video just if you're ever interested in that. He's a cool dude. But anyway, Randall called me sometime in I guess it was 2015 when he called me in to come on this show. And so I did Canute, was painting houses and trying to do this show. But as this got busier and busier, I just phased it all out, So in 2016 I stopped gigging and stopped painting houses and started doing this. And me and my wife got serious, tied the knot, in 2016. Started having weekends, but still getting to play every day.
Awesome.
And making a decent living. And just so, for me, I mean, that's success. I'm doing what I initially wanted to do.
And then you still go set in with bands? Are you currently in bands?
I will once in a while set in with Marty, which is a lot of fun, but they play with the backing tracks. So I haven't been able to go around here and like play with a whacking drummer like Bill Wilcox or, and be able to take extended solos or breaks or just kind of improvise on the groove a little bit. It's so that's all I've done around here has been with Marty, and it's a lot of fun to go sit in with them, But if Jess LaFollette was around, he and Kim Barton and I had a band called Gas Money about 20 years ago.
Oh, I've heard some stories hanging out. I've heard a couple. Nothing bad, but hanging out with Kim, since he drums for us in the Gilroys.
Kim's a great guy, man. He was sober during that time too, and I was sober when we first started. I slipped and fell a lot with drugs and alcohol and some drugs like pain pills and shit like that, and then other stuff at different times. But alcohol was usually the one that would open the door to all that stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Jess was the heavy drinker like the first year, and then I started drinking. It was like, here, Jess, hold my beer. I'm going to show you how you get really fucked up. So.
Oh, man.
But we had a lot of fun, did that till like 2004. So I joke with Kim. I say, man, have you had any luck resurrecting Jess? Because it'd be fun just to have us three get together and just blow one out, every couple months or something. Just go blow one out, for the old days, for fun's sake. But I don't know any bass players that know a gazillion songs that, that want to go out and do something like that. But I imagine, at some point, who knows how long this will stay as busy as it's been, at some point I'll probably want to go out and do a little more of that. But I doubt I'll ever really be out in the bar scene like Steady Eddie, unless it's got some other aspect to it, like something that's like destined to make a bigger push, or maybe go on the road or go to Nashville and play, or, meaningful.
Yeah.
Career-wise, because I'll be 62 here in a month, and it's a lot of fun. That's another thing with this music. Once I'm happy within my music and within my life, and my marriage is good, and we have a lot of fun, man. It's like I just feel like I've almost got it all now, like for me.
Yeah.
To some that would be like really humble. It's like, what, you don't have that much? Well, yeah, I do. Man, I'm happy. I'm getting to create, make a living, play all the time. Happy wife, happy life, back full circle after going out and making racket, in several places, from when I was a kid till just 3 years ago. Now I'm back to the town I was born in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
I'd
right
say
now.
That's successful, man.
Yeah, just having a lot of fun, just never go into music for the money.
Yeah.
Just do it because you love it and do what you have to do to keep doing it, and just never swear out, never get bitter and just swear off of it because the big deal didn't happen or whatever. You know all this because you're that kind of guy. I know that you love to play and you're going to play regardless, and you never know what's going to happen.